I mean, during the most watched sporting event in human history, you'd probably assume the most valuable piece of marketing real estate is, I don't know, a multi-million-dollar stadium banner.
Right, or maybe the front of a player's jersey.
Exactly. But right now, today, Monday, July 13th, 2026, the most talked about, highest converting marketing asset in the entire world is literally a $5 piece of elastic tied around a Norwegian man's head.
It's wild.
Hmm.
It really puts the whole traditional advertising industry into perspective, doesn't it?
Oh, totally.
You have these massive global corporations spending, hundreds of millions to get 10 seconds of your attention, and they are being completely upstaged by a hair accessory.
Upstaged is honestly putting it mildly.
Yeah.
Because we are in the absolute thick of the 2026 World Cup right now. And, I mean, the entire cultural conversation is just consumed by Norway's insane run.
It's the only thing anyone is talking about.
Right. Let's just acknowledge the reality of this past week. That 2-1 upset over Brazil in the round of 16, that was one of those moments where, like, every TV and every bar just universally erupted.
Oh, yeah. Pure chaos.
And then following it up with that massive quarterfinal clash against England just 2 days ago on July 11th, I mean, Norway is the story. But when you actually look at the coverage, the central focal point, the visual anchor of this entire phenomenon is Erling Holland.
Yeah, you literally cannot miss him.
Right. You have this 6'5" machine of just unadulterated athletic power. But it's not even just his size. Right on top of his head is that unmistakable blonde hair.
Yep.
Either flying wildly or, pulled tightly into that signature knot, that sort of hybrid ponytail man bun situation.
It really has become the defining silhouette of the tournament.
It has. And that visual dominance is exactly why we are doing this deep dive today. Because what looks like a simple stylistic choice is actually masking a massive, highly sophisticated business operation.
Yeah.
We're looking at a really insightful piece of analysis today called How Erling Holland Turned a Ponytail into a Sold-Out Business and a Branding Masterclass. And our mission here is to figure out how an athlete completely bypassed those generic corporate sponsorships we usually see shoved down our throats at these mega events.
The standard playbook, yeah.
Right. And instead, he turned a personal grooming habit into an equity-generating machine. Okay, let's unpack this. Because to me, this ponytail operates almost structurally like a superhero's cape.
Oh, that's a great way to look at it.
Or, to put it in business terms for you listening, it's like a tech CEO's signature black turtleneck, right? It's a silent, instant visual identifier that just commands the room before he even speaks or touches the ball. But I really want to know the mechanics behind it.
Well, what's fascinating here is that the turtleneck analogy is incredibly apt, but we have to take it a step further to understand the actual financial machinery happening behind the scenes.
Okay, lay it out for us.
Historically, the playbook for any global superstar, whether in sports or music or film, has been to basically rent out your image.
Right, the traditional sponsorship model.
Exactly. You reach the peak of your visibility and a massive conglomerate comes to you. They say, here's a check for $5 million. Hold this luxury watch you don't actually like.
Or pretend to drink this soda you would literally never put in your body.
Right. Just smile for the camera.
And the fans almost always know it's fake. I mean, you see an elite athlete pushing a fast food burger and the dissonance is just jarring.
It is. Because it's just a transactional rental. You are temporarily loaning them your credibility.
Right.
But what Holland and his team have engineered is fundamentally different.
How so?
He is executing a calculated shift from renting out his image to owning the actual infrastructure of his daily reality. He isn't endorsing a product. He's monetizing his own lived experience by building permanent equity.
See, I want to stop right there and really dig into that distinction. Renting versus owning. Because the question the source article poses is just so relevant to anyone in business.
Absolutely.
How do you monetize your unique look or your audience without feeling like a total sellout? And the answer, like you just said, is owning the infrastructure. And the timeline here is crucial. This didn't just happen overnight because of the World Cup.
Yeah, not at all.
Back in 2024, so 2 full years before this current fever pitch, Holland quietly executed a business move. He bought a minority equity stake in a Norwegian company called Bondep.
Yep, Bondep.
And for those who don't know, they are the company behind Necky hair ties.
And the why behind that specific acquisition is basically the linchpin of this entire masterclass. I mean, if you are a wealth manager looking at a superstar athlete's portfolio, a boutique hair tie company in Norway is probably not the first high-yield investment you pitch.
Definitely not.
But Howland chose them for a highly functional reason. He was already relying on them every single day.
Right, because let's actually think about the physical reality of his job.
Let's do that. Think about the physics of a 90-minute professional soccer match at the highest level.
Oh, yeah.
The sheer velocity of the sprinting, the aggressive physical contact, the sweat, the torque of snapping your head back for a corner kick.
Most hair ties are just going to give up. They'll snap under that tension or pull the hair out from the root or just slide right off his head.
Exactly. He needed a tool that survived the absolute extremes of human movement, and the necky ties actually worked for him.
So they were a legitimate functional tool of his trade long before they were ever a business venture.
Right.
Which perfectly sets the stage for what happened just weeks ago. Fast forward to June 2026, right as the global hype for the World Cup is hitting critical mass. Bondep launches this limited Hayland edition line.
Brilliant timing.
Oh, incredible timing. It's a set of 8 hair ties, perfectly designed in the colorways of his soccer kits, complete with a custom, understated little Holland bead. And the reaction wasn't just like a successful product launch. It was a digital stampede.
Totally.
The source notes the entire set sold out, essentially, at launch. We are talking about the kind of demand that melts servers. The company saw a 70% jump in their overall website traffic practically overnight.
Not to mention the secondary market. You suddenly had people trying to flip $5 hair ties on resale sites for absurd markups.
Just to own a piece of that specific cultural moment.
Exactly.
And they picked up over 10,000 new social media followers in a blink. But the most important part of this dynamic is that it isn't a one-and-done spike, is it?
No, that's the genius of it.
That attention gets amplified on a global scale every single time he steps onto the pitch.
Yeah.
Every time he scores a goal and the broadcast cameras zoom in tight on his face, there it is, that bright red hair tie, perfectly matching the Norway kit.
It creates a continuous self-sustaining loop of visibility. Because he owns equity in the company, every single goal he scores is effectively a global multi-million-dollar commercial for his own asset.
Wow.
And it costs him absolutely nothing in ad spend.
But look, I have to step in here and play devil's advocate for a second.
Sure, go ahead.
Wait, how is this any different from a famous influencer just dropping a glorified line of cheap merch? Why is this a masterclass rather than just a well-timed cash grab?
It's a fair question.
Because I'm reading this and I'm thinking of every internet influencer or YouTuber who has ever slapped their logo on a cheap water bottle or, a generic dropship t-shirt.
We see that constantly.
Right. Someone gets 15 minutes of fame, they source a cheap product from a factory overseas, put their name on it, and sell it to their fans at a massive markup.
But
how is Helen's hair tie any different?
that is the exact skepticism every consumer has today. And it's precisely why Howland's move is so brilliant, because it actually survives that exact scrutiny. The so what insight here is all about structural integrity. This is not a distant licensing deal. It is not a white-labeled product where a factory stamped his name on a generic good he's never even seen. Because he took an equity position in the parent company 2 years ago, this is an ongoing long-term asset.
Oh. So the timeline proves the authenticity.
Yeah.
He was in bed with them before the spotlight hit.
Precisely. Influencer merchandise is almost always designed to extract fast, immediate cash from a fleeting moment of attention.
It's a smash and grab.
Exactly, a smash and grab. But Holland's move proves a vital business maxim. You have to build your infrastructure for the long game, so you are perfectly positioned to ride the short-term waves.
And the World Cup is that short-term wave.
Yes, it provides the massive, unprecedented spike in visibility. But because he owns a percentage of a fundamentally good, functional company, he captures that value permanently. When the tournament packs up and everyone goes home, he doesn't just have a one-time royalty check. He owns a highly profitable, permanently scaled-up business.
Okay, that clarifies a lot. The equity piece is the anchor that makes it real. But beyond the financial structure, I feel like we have to talk about the cultural reception.
Yes, the audience reaction.
Why did the public embrace this instead of rejecting it? Because sports fans, and honestly, internet culture in general, are incredibly cynical.
Oh, absolutely.
They have an almost supernatural radar for fake corporate ads.
Yeah.
If this had felt like a slick marketing ploy, they would have torn it apart. But they didn't.
And the reason they didn't go straight to the heart of what modern audiences are desperately craving right now: unpolished authenticity.
Oh, man, yeah.
We have to look at the broader media landscape. We are totally saturated with incredibly polished, highly sanitized, and increasingly AI-generated marketing.
Yep. Everything is perfectly lit. The copy is flawlessly optimized by an algorithm. The actors don't have a single pore on their faces.
Right, and the result is that it all feels completely sterile, devoid of actual humanity.
It's exhausting. You scroll through your feed, and your brain just automatically filters it out because it feels like plastic. But then you look at the ecosystem Holland has built. And the source makes a great point here. He's also a global ambassador for Clear Men Shampoo, who just rolled out their massive World Cup campaign.
Oh, right. The shampoo campaign.
Yeah. So you have the hair tie company he partly owns and the shampoo brand he represents.
Yeah.
It is a fully connected, logical product universe.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel disjointed at all.
Exactly. Contrast that with an athlete pushing a luxury sedan they clearly never drive.
Right.
It makes intrinsic sense that the guy globally famous for his hair cares deeply about shampoo and hair ties. It's like a cohesive narrative.
It perfectly mirrors his actual personality, which honestly I think is the secret weapon here.
How so?
Well, if you watch his post-match interviews, he has this very genuine, slightly quirky, surprisingly low-ego vibe for a guy who is an absolute titan on the field.
He really does.
He is blunt. He is sometimes a bit awkward. He is just unapologetically himself. He never sounds like a PR robot reading talking points prepared by a crisis management firm.
No, never.
So when he associates himself to these products, the fans trust it. It feels like a natural extension of his daily life, rather than a mask he is putting on to please a corporate board.
Which brings us to the most unpredictable variable in modern marketing, which is meme culture.
Yes.
When you have an authentic, slightly quirky persona, the internet takes notice. The ponytail has basically become a cultural shorthand. When that silhouette flashes on the screen, the internet collectively understands the translation.
Holland is here, and he is about to score.
Exactly.
The internet took his look and ran with it. And here's where it gets really interesting, because instead of trying to control that narrative, he uses what I like to call marketing aikido.
Oh, marketing aikido. Explain that concept in this context.
Okay, so in the martial art of aikido, the entire philosophy is that you don't aggressively block your opponent's punch. You don't meet force with force. Instead, you grab their wrist and pull them in the exact direction they're already moving. You use their own momentum against them, or in this case, for your own benefit.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Most big legacy brands get absolutely terrified when the internet starts memeing them. They panic because they lose control of their highly scripted corporate message.
They send cease and desist letters.
Right. They try to forcefully steer the conversation back to their boring press release.
They try to block the punch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Holland and his brand partners don't block the punch. They lean back. They let the internet's own unpredictable, weird momentum, the viral clips, the inside jokes, the fan-made edits, do the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
They let the memes serve as millions of dollars of free, highly effective amplification. They are just redirecting the internet's natural energy toward their authentic product.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is the ultimate textbook example of meeting culture where it already is. And this is a profound lesson for any business or individual trying to capture attention today. The World Cup is a massive cultural tsunami. It didn't need Hall to create a moment. It provided the wave. Holland simply showed up with his surfboard.
I love that analogy.
And his surfboard, in this case, was a deeply authentic, highly functional product that directly tied into his established persona. He didn't lock himself in a boardroom trying to artificially manufacture a viral moment from scratch.
Why?
He let his natural human connection and his unquestionable physical reality on the pitch drive the entire engine.
So let's zoom out a bit and transition these concepts away from just global sports. Because it's easy to look at a genetic lottery winner like Erling Holland and think, his success is totally irrelevant to our daily lives.
Sure.
But the actual architecture of what he just did with this hair tie company is essentially a blueprint. Whether you are listening to this right now while prepping for a critical board meeting, or you're an entrepreneur trying to scale a small business.
Or even just looking to stand out in a crowded job market.
Right. Why does the Holland playbook matter for you?
It matters because the underlying mechanics of human connection and the economics of attention are universal. The text we're analyzing distills this strategy into 3 highly actionable lessons that apply directly to the corporate world or small business development.
Okay, let's get into them.
The first is, own your distinctive trait.
Which is the exact opposite of what most of us are taught to do.
Precisely. In the corporate world, the overwhelming instinct is to sand off all your rough edges. People try to look professional by being as generic as possible.
Oh, completely. They use the same sanitized corporate jargon.
They wear the same neutral styles. They format their slide decks the exact same way as everyone else. They are terrified of sticking out.
But Haaland did the exact opposite.
He doubled down on the very thing that made him visually distinct. He didn't get a standard, boring, short haircut just to look like a respectable corporate spokesperson. He kept the wild hair and built a literal business around it.
So what does this all mean? I want to ask you directly, the person listening to this right now. What is your ponytail? I really want you to think about that. What is that signature style or that specific communication quirk or that unique professional element you've been actively hiding because you want to blend in? What if that exact thing you are suppressing to look normal could actually be your greatest shortcut to recognition?
This raises an important question about how we fundamentally evaluate traditional career advice. For decades, the societal message has been that blending in is the safest, most reliable route to success.
Right. Don't make waves.
Look the part. Conform to the industry standard. But the Haaland case study proves that in a world suffering from acute information overload, the ultimate competitive advantage is being unmistakably loudly yourself in public.
Because the generic middle is just the most dangerous place to be right now.
Exactly, because it is entirely, completely forgettable.
You just become background noise.
Yeah.
And that leads perfectly into the second major lesson from the text. Turn your personal habits into products or experiences.
Okay.
The Neki hair ties didn't work as a business venture because they were a trendy market to enter. They worked because he already used them to solve a problem.
A real problem.
Yeah. So for the small business owner or the creator listening, look ruthlessly at what you already do. Look at what you genuinely love or rely on. Don't invent a random product or pivot to a new service just because you read an article saying it's a hot new market. Productize your actual lived habits.
Because if you have encountered a friction point in your life or your business and you found a unique, authentic way to solve it for yourself, the data suggests there is a massive market of people who want that exact same authentic solution.
You aren't guessing what the market wants.
Right. You are proving it with your own behavior.
Which brings us to the third and final lesson. Let your personality lead. We talked about the AI landscape a minute ago, but it is really worth emphasizing how critical this is right now.
Oh, absolutely.
As more and more content and emails and marketing copy and customer service interactions become automated and perfectly polished by generative algorithms, raw human personality becomes a scarce commodity.
And in any market, scarcity drives value.
Exactly.
Real human connection, even if it is a bit quirky or a bit blunt or slightly unpolished, will travel infinitely farther than a perfect sterile campaign. People connect with people.
Not algorithms.
Right. They do not connect with polished corporate avatars.
Think about your own inbox. It's the difference between reading a perfectly formatted, AI-generated networking email that you just immediately delete without thinking twice.
Yep.
Versus a slightly messy, highly passionate message from someone who clearly deeply cares about what they are saying. You read the messy one, you engage with it, you remember it.
Exactly. And this is why the Haaland playbook is so universally applicable. It's an antidote to the sheer exhaustion we all feel from perfectly curated lives and heavily optimized businesses.
It's a relief, really.
It is. When you stop expending all your energy trying to manufacture a fake persona, you suddenly have an immense reserve of energy freed up to focus on simply delivering excellent value. You are playing a game you can actually win because no one else can compete at being you.
Okay, let's bring this all together. What is the ultimate takeaway from this deep dive? It is a mandate to stop trying to manufacture virality. Stop trying to build perfectly polished, flawless campaigns from scratch.
It's too hard.
It is exhausting. It is incredibly expensive. And frankly, the modern audience is too smart for it anyway. They'd see right through the gloss. Instead, your job is to become an observer. Spot the waves that are already happening naturally around you.
In your specific industry or your local community or in the broader culture.
Exactly. Spot those waves and then just show up.
Show up with something real, something functionally useful, and something that is undeniably authentically tied to who you are. If you provide the utility and the authenticity, you can let the cultural momentum and the audience's innate desire for real connection do all the heavy lifting for you.
I love that. At the very beginning of this deep dive, we talked about that singular image of Erling Haaland stepping onto the pitch. 6'5", the blonde hair tied back, the ponytail acting like a modern superhero's cape.
Yeah.
But the reason it works The reason it commands attention and drives millions in equity value is precisely because it isn't a costume. It's just who he is. And the most efficient way for you to cut through the noise, to bypass the crippling information overload of your industry, and to genuinely connect with people, is to radically embrace what you already authentically do.
Well said.
So we're going to leave you with one final thought to mull over today, long after you finish listening. If your personal brand or your business was completely stripped of all its polished marketing, its AI-generated copy, and its professional gloss today, what is the one raw, authentic habit you have left that people would actually pay attention to?